I've worked all of my life to live in Italy. We found this place, and now this is our place, and it means everything to me. I love that Tuscan food, it's about basic ingredients and the quality of them. It can take a long time. There's braised meats, there's slow-cooked ragouts and sauces and things. Steak and eggs. I mean, who doesn't love steak and eggs?
This is for the TikTokers, you know, lots of extra cheese.
Look how gorgeous, you guys.
Look at that.
Woo-hoo-hoo!
You're looking for that beautiful crust.
Bloop. You don't have to make the sound noises, but it really is fun. Boom! Food is a conduit. We make food to take us away to places we've never been and dream about going to. You just need your imagination and a couple of bucks, and you have a ticket to anywhere. So come on over. I love this place. I hope you do too. Anagas is a brilliant author. She's gonna make
Rafanata, which is a potato and horseradish frittata.
from this book.
And it's from my book, Italian Snacking, which is all about the regional snacks of Italy. So we're gonna get all these eggs in here.
Which region?
This region that we're covering is Basilicata. And it's actually, I would say, the most unknown of all the regions. It's in the south, and it is very mountainous. So they actually eat quite a few vegetables. And they love eating things that still, you know, no meat, but really fill you up. And a frittata does that. Now here in the States, we love eating eggs for breakfast. But in Italy, they don't have scrambled eggs for breakfast. Eggs are more of a snack. So this is something that you'd have in the afternoon with a delicious Negroni and your friends. So it's just sliced up. And I'm just scrambling them up. All right, let's get started on the filling. So the first thing I'm gonna do is get my potatoes going. And the reason I'm getting my potatoes going is because I parboil them. Now, why would you parboil the potatoes? I love parboiling potatoes for a couple of reasons. The obvious reason is then when I fry them in the pan, they're gonna fry really quickly. But the other reason is when you parboil your potatoes before you cook them in some other heat source, like either roasting or frying, you get a really nice crunchy exterior and a nice soft interior. It's just a little trick I use. So I rarely put raw potatoes in anything. They're always parboiled. Now, the other ingredient that we have for this recipe is horseradish. And when I first saw this recipe, I was kind of scratching my head, like horseradish and eggs. But then I started researching Basilicata, which has a lot of horseradish growing there. And it grows abundantly. It's actually a root vegetable that if you don't maintain it, will take over. So there's a lot of it. And they really like it. They call it
looks like this when it's fresh.
They call it the poor man's truffle. Because Basilicata is known to be a very mountainous, population, very small region. And, they really had to be resourceful, which is something that you find in regions where there isn't a lot of, work. Economy is a little bit slower. They don't have much tourism there, which should really be changed. I mean, I think people would really love it once they saw it. It is a beautiful region of Italy. Okay, so we're just gonna get these all peeled and into some cold water. Now, that's another thing. People sometimes want to cut corners and they might say, let me boil my potatoes in some hot water. Don't do that. Potatoes always have to start in cold water because if you don't, your outside will cook and your interior will remain completely raw. For even cooking for potatoes, you have to start in cold water, even though it might take a little longer. All right. The other fun thing with a frittata is you can obviously make it your own. So in Basilicata, the one main meat source is pork. They eat a lot of sausage. They have a lot of pigs there. So sometimes you can see this dish with pork. A little bit of sausage and eggs never hurt anybody. And they usually put pork in it around Carnevale, which is a time in Italy when people are really celebrating. So, you know, they'll make things a little bit more rich, a little bit more expensive. But I love the vegetarian version. I think it's great. And like I said, it can be a great snack. It can be a great lunch with a salad. And the other nice thing about it is it tastes fantastic at room temperature. So you can eat it hot, but then, you know, the next day, just put it out for some friends, sliced up in triangles. This is really, really similar to the Spanish tortilla, de patatas. It's the same thing. So we're gonna drop our potatoes in the cold water. And remember, we're parboiling. We're not trying to cook these all the way through. So we're just gonna get them in the water and get them going. And while we're getting these going, in that 10 minutes or so that those are cooking, we can cut up our onions, because that's the other part of this dish. It's fried onions, it's potatoes, and then you add the horseradish in as well. Here's my onion. So I'm gonna cut these onions very thin. Remember, we're par cooking those potatoes, so they're not gonna take too long to fry. And the onion is just kind of like a little sweet accent in those potatoes. I love the combination of onion with eggs. And you know, it's so funny because people always say, oh, what's the trick to not crying when you cut onions? I've tried them all. I don't know that any of them necessarily work that great. A wet knife usually helps. Some people, you know, say holding a match between your lips, but I don't know. I just kind of go for it.
I think it's ridiculous, and some people actually wear scuba goggles when they do.
Yes.
So you need to wrap this up, Missy. Somebody else has to cook in this kitchen
All
too,
right,
you
all
know.
right. All right, you get going over there. I'm gonna
All
keep
right,
cutting these
all right.
onions.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna lay in those really nice, thin onion.
What is the matter with you?
Thank you, thank you. I needed that extra luck. Okay, so our potatoes are pretty much done. It's been 10 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and get these off and drain them up. Beautiful little potatoes. You always want to try to use the same size potato because that's also going to help with even cooking. If you have one really large potato and one really small potato, well, guess what? They're not all going to cook at the same pace. Now, see how easy the slice is up? And you'll even see in the middle how it's still a little bit raw. That's exactly what you're looking for. Because what's going to happen is the outside is going to cook faster than the inside. And at this point, we want that to happen. So your outside's going to get nice and crisp, and the inside is gonna stay nice and soft. So it's kind of like the French fry effect. That's why the French cook French fries 3 times. And that's why they're so good. Okay, I have my potatoes all fried. So I have some very, very warm olive oil on the stove. You're gonna wanna be generous because with a frittata, it's gonna come up high, so you're gonna wanna make sure that everything is getting cooked. So we're gonna throw these in. I'm telling you, after you make this once, you're gonna have a lot of fun with this recipe. You can do sausage, you could do bacon, leave it vegetarian, any which way you like it. So just gonna give the pan a little shake because I want my potatoes to get cooking. All right, get these all going. And now remember, with the frittata, it's also gonna end up in the oven. So it's gonna cook a little bit here and it's gonna cook a little bit in the oven. Now I'm gonna lay in those really nice, thin onion. And this is just gonna add a nice little bite of sweetness. I'm a big fan of onions. Onions and garlic, but I'm Italian, so kind of runs in our blood. All right, so that's gonna go in too. All right, I'm gonna get a little salt and pep. Get that in. Use Rachel's very beautiful, very special
That survived the
pepper
fire.
grinder.
The fire at my house. The house didn't survive, but that pepper melted.
This is a survivor.
And you didn't put salt over your shoulder.
Oh my goodness.
What is the matter with you?
Thank you, thank you. I needed that extra luck. We have our eggs, and now we're gonna add our special ingredient. Now, as Rachel showed you before, we have fresh horseradish, which is great, and you can find this in the grocery store. As she also said, it lasts forever in the fridge.
Yeah.
I do love the prepared. It's easy to find. Again, get it in the fridge.
The difference, guys, is that prepared horseradish is in vinegar. So if you want a little bit of vinegary taste in the background, great. If you just want heat, you can keep for literally a month, arguably even longer, fresh horseradish. And they're both delicious. I mean, the point is you're using a root that gives a lot of spice.
Now, the recipe calls for 3 tablespoons, but you might be a little nervous. You know, you might have only had horseradish in your shrimp cocktail. So if you want to start with less, you can. I always say, there's no kitchen police. You do what you like. And then we just drop it in.
Go for it. What about your cheese, babe? You gonna put that on top?
Yes, we are.
All right.
So we're gonna get this in. Now I'm gonna put about half the cheese in. This is an Italian recipe. I'm sorry, we love our cheese. It is our favorite dairy product, cheese. Now, with a frittata, like I said, it's gonna go in the oven, but you're gonna wanna give it a little help. So, in a hot pan, your edges are gonna immediately start to cook. So how you help this guy out is you just tilt the pan ever so slightly and move those eggs around. So your top is losing liquid because you're kind of slipping it into the bottom. And I just go back and forth. Okay, see how it's puffing up? This is so beautiful. I mean, you serve this to some friends, get some, you know, staple gin, you make a couple aperitivi. This is gonna be a happy time. Anytime. Yeah, this is gonna be a nice ta-da, all right? We got our potatoes, we have our eggs, we have everything in. Now, it's going in the oven to brown, and that top is gonna cook up in the oven. So what do? I add a little more cheese. Again, you do you. You know, same thing with the cheese. I love my pecorino. You can do parmigiano, whatever you love. This is your party. All right, Rach.
Okay, I love you. Congratulations on your book, my darling friend.
Thank you so much.
And this is gonna go in the oven, guys, but we'll try and keep you entertained with the steak and salsa verde. Steak and eggs. I mean, who doesn't love steak and eggs? All right, you cool?
I'm cool.
All right, we're gonna clean this up. We'll be right back. It's marbled beautifully. So you want that to get a little bit crispy. It's kind of like fresh beef jerky. Okay, guys, I have a huge cast iron frying pan on the stove, and I've just sprayed it with a little bit of innocuous oil. You can use olive oil, you can use canola oil, it doesn't really matter. Over here, this is skirt steak. Now look at the amount of meat here on this board. This is an enormous amount of portions, and guess how much it technically weighs? A little over a pound. That's what is terrific about skirt steak, is that it's kind of like a cucina povera, a poor person's kitchen. I mean, we've talked about this so many times with ossobuco, and with a skirt steak, for sure, you get a lot of bang for your buck. This is a small amount of meat, and we have several portions here. Look at this. All we had to do was pound it out. Now, when we pound stuff out, what do we mean by that? This is a mallet, okay? Obviously, we use that in the process. But what you don't want to do is just go bam, 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 bam. When we draw meat out, whether it's a chicken cutlet or a piece of skirt steak, you want to do a light drop and a draw towards your body or away from your body. That's how we pound meat out and make cutlets and scallopini and blah, blah, blah. So we're done with that part. We have the pan nice and hot. Now, this is not as hot as it looks. My stove is not on high. This is on medium heat, okay? So we spray the pan. I'm actually gonna do a touch more, just to be careful. You just barely spray the pan, and then you let the pieces drop in. Now, not everyone has a giant skillet, right? What do? You cook it in batches. As Anna was saying earlier, many Italian meals are served in restaurants and at home, room temperature. So this is not a strange thing. We cook food and then we put it out. I mean, you can't leave it there all day, of course, but room temperature food is actually, I think, tastier than screaming hot food, okay? Because the juices settle, the food settles, and it gets amabile, friendly. And that's what's going on here. So we'll just let this brown a few minutes on each side. If you pound out skirt steak, it's gonna take about 7 minutes total time. To have it just kind of right. Still a little bit juicy, but brown and crispy on both sides. Skirt steak has a lot of striations of fat going through the meat. It's marbled beautifully. So you want that to get a little bit crispy. It's kind of like fresh beef jerky to go along with the fabulous spicy eggs. So now we're going to make the sauce. Now this is stupid how easy this is. So this is 2 shallots, 2 garlic, a huge bunch of parsley, and a bunch of mint. Here we go, right into the processor. I coarsely chopped the shallots. The garlic is just cracked and peeled. Throw it in there. Anchovies. Buy good anchovies. If you think you don't like anchovies, guess what? You're wrong. They're delicious. They're natural salt. So we're going to put in a few anchovies. And once you cook them, forget about it. Here we go with some capers. I know, salt. What does salt love to make out with? Fat. Good fat. Olive oil. Here's a little crushed red pepper. Again, you think you don't like crushed red pepper, you're using too much. Just put in a sprinkle and go up from there. And always acid. Acid and citrus go together. They also want to hang out in the same place. Look what I'm doing here. I'm squeezing it cut side up so no seeds fall into our salsa verde. Bloop. You don't have to make the sound noises, but it really is fun. Boop. Okay, so now we just, oh, sugar pops. Okay, fine. Sometimes I lose the fight with the food processor, and that happens. But today I win. And if it's not loose enough to make you happy, you pull the doodad out of the whatchamacallit, and you add a little more olive oil and or lemon juice to your liking. When we come back, we'll serve it up. That's a sexy beast right there. It has to get its prom shot.
There you go, baby.
Okay? It's going to prom.
Oh, Rachel, I am very excited to show you this.
Look how gorgeous, you guys.
Look at that.
Woo-hoo-hoo! That's a sexy beast right there.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking for that beautiful crust, you know, it puffs up, even though it's got all that filling in it. That's what a frittata does. It just kind of comes to life in the oven, and I just love them.
Okay, Anna.
All right.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready to boop?
I'm ready to boop.
The boop is the fun part.
It really is. You know, this is like the big ta-da moment, and it's fun. All right, we ready?
I'm ready.
Are we ready?
Come on, bring it. Woo! Boom!
All right, now to just, as we say, gild the lily, you can do herbs, you can do more cheese. I like making nice, beautiful. You know, this is for the TikTokers. You know, lots of extra cheese. We're gonna get it onto. Ooh,
Oh,
that's a
well,
little too
that
much.
might be a bit heavy.
That
on
might be
the
heavy
cheese.
on the cheese.
Delightful.
I'm excited for you to try.
All right, come on. Let's put it forward so they can get it.
Yeah, that's right.
It has to get its prom shot.
There you go, baby.
Okay, it's going to prom. Okay, now we're going to take our little steaks. This is our skirt steak. Just salt and pepper and olive oil.
Yum,
and
yum.
Bella certainly wants some. I can hear her. What's going on? What's going on? I smell beef. I smell meat. What's going on?
So this is Italian steak and eggs.
It's steak and eggs, my favorite high protein breakfast. But you can eat this breakfast, lunch, or dinner, which is the point of Anna's book, Italian Snacking. You can eat it any time of day, and that's the Italian way. There you go.
Love it.